hang on a second. This isn't the random. This isn't the Scott. What's going on here?
Yeah. We're short a few people today.
We are. But we have some guests. We're going to get them on the show as soon as possible. So we're going to go straight into the do's and don'ts. We also mentioned that get your questions in the chat with the queue in front. We'll get straight to them. We're running a little bit behind schedule. Yeah. So, do's and don'ts. This will be a first, John. Is it a first?
Yeah, no Scott. No Scott. So,
John,
do's and don'ts. Yeah.
Take it away.
All right. So, the usual that we go through every week, be nice to everybody, be respectful. Don't post things that you shouldn't be posted. You know how all that stuff goes. We're connected, right? All the community places that you can go and ask questions and do things like that are all connected. So if you mess up in one, you're going to be banned from all of them. So don't do it. Have fun, ask us questions. We're here to answer. We'll do some coding maybe. We'll see what we get to. Also with the questions, make sure that you aren't posting a question more than once. We will bump you to the bottom of the list. So we see your question, we add it to the list. If we see it again, we take it out and put it in again, which moves you to the bottom. So don't do it. And the other thing with questions and or post is don't include URLs. You are the only one that gets to see it if you post a question with a URL in it. Nobody else sees it, us or anyone. So if you need a URL, use gist on GitHub. And I think I don't know if we have a link that we can share there, son, but
yeah, I'll put that in the chat.
Perfect. So yeah, just go put it in the gist if you got code to share, and then share that gist number, the number at the hashtag at the end there for us. That's it.
So have a good time. That's
yeah.
We always end to have a good time. Yep. You don't know who we are. My name's Simon Lightfoot, Flutter community leader, CTO at Devon London, and other things, and all that other stuff. You can follow me on social media and Twitter and so on. And Twitter is at Devon London. John, do you want to give a bit of your stuff as well? Because we don't have you. We should get you on the slides, really.
Yeah. So we don't have a Scott. We don't have a Randall.
Or Danielle
today. But yeah. So John Weezy. You can find me on Twitter and other places. Usually at John Weezy. I hang out in the Discord answering questions over there for folks with Randall. And then and many others. And then I manage the Flutter community Medium, making sure that we have stories going there to help people. I don't know, been doing this for a long time on the side. Haven't been able to do it full time, as my full-time gig doesn't do Flutter. But one of these days. Yeah, we tried. We did a little bit. We did a little bit early on, and then we couldn't keep it going. So
one day.
Yeah, one day.
And enter your questions in the chat with the queue in front, and you'll get them in the queue. All right, let's get our guests on board. Let's see who's first. Lucas, welcome to the stage.
Hello, friends.
Hey, Lucas.
And talking about friends, I'm the organizer of the Flutter and Friends conference, and I do the Flame game engine, my Dart and Flutter GD, all that kind of stuff. You can find me on social media as Spydon.
All these magical things, and we also have a Raph. Welcome, Raph. Yeah.
Hello. So I'm Raph. I'm doing this now every week, it seems. And I'm doing some Flutter community stuff and enjoying Flutter and having some nice time here.
Briefly, yes. So thank you very much, by the way. I'll show you the guys this. Look what I got from Lucas.
Yay!
Oh yeah.
Jealous.
Has like a light platform to
I saw it. Yeah, I was gonna say, doesn't it have like a little thing to light it up? Yeah.
It does, but I don't think you'll see it on the camera.
Yeah, barely. Yeah.
It kind of lights up, but yeah.
Very pretty.
Yeah. So so Lucas, so far how did you view the event? How now that the 3 days over, you can relax, can you?
Yeah, I guess quite.
A bit, just a bit.
I also got announced as the winner of the LG hackathon, so now it's a lot to do with that.
Oh wow,
nice.
But that was a lot of money, so that's nice. But I'll talk a bit about the Flutter and Friends event. It was I think it went really well. The first half of the talks day was a bit chaotic because someone smoked in the toilet, and one of the bins went on fire, so the fire brigade had to come there and get us all outside. But yeah, the afternoon went a bit more smooth,
well.
and all the social activity day was great too, I think. And so for the people that didn't attend, we have 3 days on Flutter and Friends. The first day is a social activity day, and it's a day full of talks and a big party with some coding challenges and stuff in the evening. And the third day is a workshop day. Yeah, and we have sent out surveys to all the attendees, so I can only say from myself that I think it went pretty good, but I haven't looked through the results of the surveys yet. How did you think it went, Simon? You were there as a speaker, or actually a workshop?
I did a bit of part, didn't I? Yeah, no, it was really good. Yeah, it was really smooth actually. Obviously, apart from the fire alarms going off, but that can't be helped. This is that was out of our control. But yeah, no, it went good. I wasn't able to make a lot of the social stuff. I had a limited schedule when I was there, but I do want to come back and spend more time with everyone, and I still get to do the party. So yeah, I want to see that fluttering in the dark.
Yeah, it was amazing. There's so many skilled Flutter developers there, and then so how Flutter in the Dark works, it's on a stage at the party area with like lots of lights and smoke and stuff around, and you sit and code. 4 people sit next to each other and code at the laptop. And you have 10 minutes to replicate a UI, and all of the audience can see what you're doing at the same time. So it's like the stress level is like up here. And then after 10 minutes, you get to run your code and you see if it runs and how close you are to the result. And then it was several heats of that and a final. Yeah, it's really amazing to see how skilled
just like here, but not in the dark, just in light.
Yeah. Maybe we should do it in the dark. There you go, problem solved.
Your manager's looking over your shoulder instead.
Close the curtains.
There was a really good, I thought, Very Codes. Are you pulling it up? There's a really good.
Yeah, that's the one I was trying to find. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on. Share. Let's see, share tab. Here we go. Let's see if we can do this. We have the technology. We can make it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and then there was obviously music and stuff in the background too, like a little vibe.
And there's also I think where was it? If I can find it. And then we have the winner here. Let's see if we bring the winner up. There you go, Rodrigo.
Yep.
Nice, and congratulations again to Rodrigo.
Yeah. There's trophy and everything. Not everyone has one of those trophies.
Is it a trophy or is that a nest for Dart?
Yeah. You should have gotten one of the smaller darts. I guess they would have fit better in the top of that nest.
So it went quite well. I think it's I like the format a lot. Like the activities. And you've got the day of the actual talks and everything else, and then you've kind of got the workshop day. It really works quite well, that format.
And we had the badge hack too. We had a bit of a special conference badge. So like this has built-in lights in it. I don't know if this one still has battery.
I've still got battery.
And it has an NFC tag on the backside, so you can code your LinkedIn on there or rickroll somebody, so everyone could go around and tap each other's badges. And on the workshop day, we also had a badge hackathon, so you could build different things for the badges. Someone, for example, built a Pokemon game where you were basically collecting attendees, getting different Pokemons depending on the ID of the badge.
Nice.
It's pretty fun.
I do want to still continue. I've still got a project that's underway that I haven't got back to yet, but that is to work on doing some conference badges that are actually like running Flutter. Dart.
Yeah, we were looking into that too. It gets so expensive when you just have to bump up the hardware a little bit from the simplest.
So I think that the depending on what you're doing, right? So actually, you can probably get the actual chip and everything you need to actually run it, and battery and so on, per unit about $4 to $8 kind of price. Like
with a screen
done.
too.
That's the thing. So the screen adds another 10 maybe, right? So probably around like $15 a unit, which is not cheap, right? For depending on the thing. But then you could, the way we were seeing it being something where the speakers get them as part of their stuff and the staff. And then if you want it as an attendee, it's an additional thing that you say, I want this, and it's a one-off fee that goes onto the ticket price, which I think is a reasonable thing, because you can go away with this. You can then update it and take it to the next conference with you, right? It means that if you go back the next year, you don't have to pay for it because you've already got one, right? That you could then just update the software on or something, right? So I feel like there's a middle ground, right?
Yeah, I think for next year, Mikael, I think it's called. He's the like Flutter Raspberry Pi guy. He also had a lot of ideas. I think we should do some brainstorming for the next one. I think we can come up with something really cool.
Yeah,
a little bit like the DEF CON style badges, if you've seen those ones.
Right, exactly. I was looking at there's some interesting new type of display types that don't use they use reflective technology rather than like, so you can actually get some really interesting low energy based displays now that are not e-paper. They're between e-paper and LCD.
Right, so they can render a bit faster than the e-ink, I
guess. Full like 30, 60 FPS and at 60 million. And 60 million colors. So we'll see how it goes. But the badges are cool and future stuff. We have a couple of questions, but let's just call out for everyone. Get your questions in the chat now, and we can get them answered.
And I actually have to leave because I still have a lot of Flutter friends here, and we're going to go into the forest, make a bonfire, and see if we can be lucky and get some northern lights for them.
I thought I was going to say, you don't want to be lucky enough to call the fire brigade again.
Not that lucky. Well, I hope you have a lovely time. If you see northern lights, take a photo for me. I want to see.
Yeah, will do. I think it's extremely low chance. It was over the US a few hours ago, and the solar storm is gone now.
Yeah, when they had that solar, was it like a month ago when they had that solar mass ejection thing? Actually had them over the UK. Apparently, I didn't see any. But
it was probably because you were inside, Simon.
That's I need to leave the computer screen. That's why I've been doing wrong. Anyway, cool.
Super.
All right. Well,
thanks for having me.
Evening, and you're welcome. And we'll speak again.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Right. Let's begin with some questions and see what.
Yeah, we can answer a couple questions. Yeah.
We can then also maybe do some live coding. See what comes up on the list. What did we did?
We could plug. Well, the first question is actually going to lead us right into plugging FlutterCon US.
Let's see where it goes then. First.
Yeah, so talks from FlutterCon 2024 are available on DroidCon. What do you recommend to watch? What are your top 5?
Oof, that's the tough one.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
I don't really have a top 5, to be honest. I haven't even seen any of them myself. So I'm literally going to have to find some time to like go through. You know, when you're organizing things and you're involved, you don't get to see anything.
You don't get to attend.
Which actually really nice this time around because I wasn't part of Flutter and Friends organization team, so I literally was there as a member, and then like my speaking obligation was more like a workshop, which meant I didn't actually have like lots of prep to do as well. So
you took somebody else's slide, right? You were doing somebody else's. Yeah.
It was actually the same content. It was just
okay.
We can talk about it more another day. Once I need to write up some notes, and in fact they'll go out on the Medium, so I need to talk to each other about that. But we'll make that happen.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
I haven't looked at them either. So
you're trying to see me bring them up here. Hang on.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, I was going to bring up the schedule, and then based on the original schedule and agenda, maybe we can. see here. Hang on.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, for those that maybe aren't aware or are looking for something to do in a couple of weeks, FlutterCon USA is happening in New York on the 19th and 20th, I believe, right? Or is it the 18th?
Yep.
19th and 20th, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can find all that info at fluttercon.dev. Actually, it's
FlutterConUSA.dev.
USA.dev, yeah.
Nearly, John. Nearly. So let's bring up last. So the two events have two different websites. So
Yeah.
If you want to look at the agenda for the videos that we're just talking about now, which is up on the Europe one, you go to fluttercon.dev/agenda, which I've put the link in the chat, and I'll bring that up on stream right now as well. So we've got there's 3 days, and I remember how many tracks we actually had. Why is this so? There we go. Yeah, 4 tracks. 4 tracks over 3 days. There's a lot of content. You have no idea how much content. It was 90 talks. I think it was 90 talks off the top of my head, 80 or 90 talks or something like that. I mean, this is just insane amount of content. And it's also trying to make sure, that it's content that makes sense that people are interested in. And there's a lot of time when I think people go to these talks and they see one person's talk and then they can't see the others, right? So the whole idea of having these videos posted up online afterwards is to say, oh, you went to this one, but you didn't see this, you can go watch these, right? So try and make sure there's not many overlapping, oh, good, just me, brain, come on. Oh, that's interesting. It pops up in the middle. How helpful. And scroll. So when you click tap on, you have to scroll to the middle of the iframe or whatever. That's so fun.
Yeah.
We'll have to fix that. Anyway. Yeah. So anyway, so you can go through and have a look at these. And then for those that don't know where the videos are, let me get your link to that as well. I think they're linked on the front page now, but if it's not yet, they will be. Sorry, bear with me. It should be on its way. Let's see. Yes. Yeah. There we go. So the link to the videos is in the chat. This is it here on some very obscure link, but basically, DroidCon. Let me see if I can get this up on the screen. The FlutterCons, by the way, are done in conjunction with DroidCon, if you didn't know. And so choose the year, choose the event, in this case, FlutterCon, and then you'll get all the video content. And then you can actually search for the topics or the speakers' names, and then you should get them up. So, for example, I don't know, let's see if you can search me. It might come up.
It might be a
other tips and tricks. There you go. And there I am. I have no idea how it turned out. Oh no, this is last year's. This is 23. Oh no.
Is that 23? Even though it said 24?
I think it came up in the search results. I think it's not filtering.
The search results aren't the filter.
Well, yeah. We're welcome. I think I'm going to see if I can get these up on the community, the YouTube channel. I think that's a good place for them to surface as well, because it can be harder to surface them through here.
Yeah, it'd be good to have a playlist of them.
Yeah. Maybe a playlist for each track. That might be helpful as well.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's so much content. Use the agenda, try and find it, and we'll try and make it more accessible.
Yeah.
But no, thank you for the question.
For sure. Yeah.
It wasn't a month ago.
A little while ago. But
it feels like a month ago.
It was this year.
It's good enough, right? It's this year. It's fine.
Right. Yeah.
We've got some praise. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Hey mate, Frey, did we meet at Flutter and Friends? Did I just miss you, or did I just not recognize you? That could happen as well. Right, let's see what else we got on the list here.
Yeah, what else? We can go to the next one. Yeah. Yeah, how do you generate a Flutter theme from a Figma design as a JSON file? I'm using Token Studio to generate the big JSON file. I don't know.
I
that
didn't
I've
even
ever
know
done
you
that.
could generate a JSON
Yeah.
file from Figma design. So
Me
yeah,
neither.
and that says that Token Studio is like some plugin. I mean, Jerbs, I mean, the only answer to that is make yourself a little script that loads the JSON file and pulls out the values you want and generates a Dart file at the end of it. It's just text, right? Like make yourself a little template, put it all together.
Yeah, just create the theme data with everything in it.
Yeah, there is a package. What's the Dart? Oh, Raf, you know this. You did this. I remember you did a talk on this for code generation. What was the? And this is gonna put you on the spot. Was it Source Gen? No, what's the package? What's the pub.dev package that has you can easily generate Dart source. You build Dart out of objects like statement and stuff, and then when you press to string and it kind of generates it.
1 second. If you bear with me for a second.
Yeah, no,
there's a bunch of Figma to Flutter conversion tools, but I don't know if they do specifically themes.
Well, if you were to write this, well, this is the thing, right? If it's interesting, right? Like for the life of me, find. I know there's one. Generator.
Code builder.
Code builder. You remember that?
DHIY's Flutter builder.
That might
looks like something you maybe pay for.
Yeah, that's the code builder.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Let me bring this up on stream. So for those that don't know, if you're trying to generate Dart code, bring this up. Here you go. So there's a package called Code Builder. It's made by the Dart team. And if you're doing code generation, making your own code generators, you use this. And basically it means that you can you can define a class, give it a name, extensions, methods. And the idea is that you can use objects built in Dart to then format and output Dart code. So this is going to take, in this case, this class, creates a Dart emitter, and then gives that class to the Dart emitter. And then the output is put through a Dart formatter. And then you're going to get this. So as you can see there, you're basically taking your sort of syntactical, like semantic sort of structure, and then output Dart code from that. And that's what you want to do, right? So you pass your JSON, create your Dart, your class that's called theme data with the parameters and or the fields in the constructor which match what you're trying to do, and then emit that Dart code into a file. Now you've generated some Dart code, and that can then be used. And there's some examples in here as well. So that's generally how you would do it, right? Yeah, you don't have to make a code generator. Let me be clear. You're just making a job. You're just making like a CLI, like a.
Somebody's done it.
Oh, someone's done it, have they?
Yeah, you're on PubDev. Pull up design_tokens_builder.
Oh,
now
okay.
It's not very popular. _token. Yep. And it is a package to generate a Flutter theme data from an exported design token JSON.
This is really what he wanted. This was Jervis who made this. He just wanted us to advertise this package. This looks cool. This is exactly it, right? So this is taking like the
JSON
and Figma output, and then converting it into Dart code. Perfect. There you go. And it depends on. It doesn't depend on it. Oh, no. So they must be doing it quite manually, which is fine. I mean, it's the same thing, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's just text that's getting put.
Yeah. And they're probably doing exactly what you were showing, which is just creating
config. Or maybe they're getting the import through one of the other dependencies or something like that. Oh, no, they're just, there you go. So they're just using templates.
Yep.
Which is fine. It works.
Yeah.
Cool. There you go. So
the answer
is Design Token Builder. I'll also put the other link to the other package in the chat as well. Where is it? What's it? Yeah. Cool.
Perfect. All right.
Next question.
Yeah. Is it necessary to publish flavorized builds in store for subscriptions? No. Right? I mean,
so no, I mean, for subscription.
Well, why?
No,
I mean,
so-
so you wouldn't have to have a special flavor for subscription, right? You would just handle it in the app.
So there's different ways. There's different ways. Well, this is the okay. This is the difference. So you can have a free version of your app and a paid version of your app, and then the initial payment is just taken by the App Store on the download and install of the app. So they're using your free version. Then you say, oh, you can get our paid for version, right, by doing this, and then they can download that version. What you can even do as well, which is like a tricky thing, once they start up that version, you can actually say, oh, it detects if the other version's installed the free one and uninstalls it. Like you can do like some funky stuff.
Yeah.
Won't go into that right now. However, the point is that's one model, right? There's a freemium model. There's all these names given to these things, but freemium is it's free to download and install, and then you pay for in-app purchases and in-app payments. So this might be that they use your app and then they press buy my subscription or pay for my service, and then you unlock features of your application.
Right.
Both of these have their pros and cons. Both of them can be like abused, right? So for example, what I mean is you have a version of your app that supports both paid and unpaid users, and then someone downloads the APK off their device, right? Some nefarious person, they modify it to unlock the paid features for free, right? Remove the in-app purchase feature, and then they upload the APK onto the internet. That's literally what they re-sign it under their own key. That's dodgy, and people would go and install it and get the stuff. And a lot of the time, don't go looking for these things, because a lot of the time they'll also put malware in them and other horrible things. And then that comes back to you. Like oh god, I installed this application and it was it's not your fault. But so these are the things that kind of happen with stuff. The flavors are mainly there. So flavors can be used for a lot of different things. One of them is environmental. So basically you might have a stage and release and like a dev version of your app, and this enables you to develop against one whilst not affecting your live users. This is quite, as soon as you release your app live, this is super critical, right? Because what you don't want to be doing is developing on your production database, your production Firebase instance or whatever else, because if you go, oh, just delete, I just want to delete this thing, and you end up deleting the whole database, well, you just screwed over all your users, right? So these are things that actually happen, and people do this. They don't think about these things. So the reason for having the separate builds on the App Store, and you don't publish them, right? You don't publish the stage one, you don't publish the dev one, but for having these separate things is so that you can locally work with a stage environment, separate version of the app, and then when you're ready, then you publish it, right? And then that will be linked to the release database, right? Or the release stuff. And flavors help you achieve that. So starting with a different target for your Dart code or a different flavor means that you can start out with different Firebase configurations and things. I've kind of just but anything else you guys can think of around kind of flavors?
No, I think you covered it. There is a follow-up question that you starred in there actually twice. They asked it two different ways.
Oh, okay. Which was this one?
Yeah. Any way to use that same subscription that you've defined in different flavors of your build? Is it necessary to push them to the store too? So, like we said, you can push them but not publicize them, the different flavors.
So okay, okay, send me. Now you get into the weeds. So same subscription defined in the store. The subscriptions are in Google are unique to the app. In the Apple App Store, they're unique to the entire App Store, like the subscription IDs, which means you need to have different ones for different flavors. So what you normally do, I think I showed this before. In fact, I could bring it up now. Hang on. I think I did it. Did I do it in the Wild Shopping app?
Maybe.
So, we'll find out. Looks like I did something, so we'll bring it up on stream here. Hang on. This one. There we go. So I'll post a link to this, but you can see here I've got main dev and main prod as two different entry points. So the dev one tells it that when it starts up, the app configuration is dev, right? And then on the production one, it says it's production. This way, so in your code, you can find out what is the app configuration I started with, and is it production or is it dev? Now these two different files, they're called targets or entry points. And when I think maybe I've got the README. I do not. Lucky me. Let's see if I can bring this up here. See, this is my own fault. It's on the website. Flutter. Let's see if I can find the official information about deploying with targets. The one time I want it. It was just on their webpage somewhere. Well, okay. Well, I've got a reference here. This will do for now. So hopefully you can bring it up on screen. There we go. So the Flutter command line tool here. So yeah, you can run all the various different commands. And when you run Flutter run, hoping it will tell us down here, and the Dart file, right? I mean, it says Dart file here. There's actually, when you run Flutter build, so it's hoping it'll give me like, one time I want it. I can't find it. Is it under deploying? Where's the deployment there? Just choose that one. I'm not sure if it has it in here either. Maybe there's something that should be documented a bit better then. I might be under flavors, to be honest. Target.
What are you looking for?
How
How to specify the target file?
Yeah, I just wanted to show what it is in the command. I can type it out. It was just like more like there should be documentation.
I think it's -T basically.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, it's -T or -- target, right? And then you pass it the file. I'm just thinking that it should be clearly spoken about. Like this is a major part of building a Flutter app, and I'm not seeing it mentioned in the documentation. Am I missing something? I feel like I'm. Well, anyway. So if you run Flutter build or Flutter run -- help on your command line, it'll give you there's an option to specify a target, and that's the Dart file to use to run and your application. You can also specify the flavor as a Dart define. That's a different way of loading it. And you only have one entry point then. There's a bunch of different ways, but the idea here being that when your app is running, it can then know how it was built. So to answer your question around the same subscriptions, let me bring it back to this, and that is inside your code, you can go, oh, I'm running production, so I'm going to use this subscription ID. If I'm in developer, I'm going to run this one. If I'm on iOS and production, I'll use that one. And then you can choose the right subscription ID to use for in-app purchases. And yeah, you don't have to push all your flavored builds to the store. I mean, you'll have to have the bundle IDs defined and a few other things, but it really depends on the features, the server-side features you're trying to use from the third-party providers. All right. What was this other? Is this anyway?
That was the same. Yeah,
I think it's the same thing. Yeah.
Mm.
All right. Let's see what's next. Remember, get your questions in the queue in front in the chat.
I think there's a few more out there. Simon, could you show how to make a server with an endpoint to download a file with the ability to pause and resume the download? Any best practices or good articles, special headers to use?
If people are interested, we could do that as a bit of live coding for today. That's quite a reasonable thing to do, and I think people would find that interesting. I will say that we'll say Ray. Ray, sorry, terrible names. It's not quite common for that to actually happen. And the reason for that is if you're trying to download a file from a server, you don't want it to have to go through your web server to be downloaded. If it's stored in like a bucket or global storage, it's better to send the URL of that location down to the app and then have the app go fetch it straight from the storage. This means you're not paying for CPU memory costs for people just to transfer data through your server, right? So, however, obviously, depending on what your requirements are, maybe there's a paywall when you're trying to like protect things around. You can still do it with buckets. It's a slightly more complex thing, but yeah, we can show you how to do this. No problem. If I'm not so tired, it is. Right, let's see. I will leave that on the list, and then we'll come back to that a bit later.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I said that, and then I took off the list.
All right, next one. So what's better, using the default Flutter navigation or a Navigator 2.0 package like Go Router? Depends.
I know.
Depends on
What's
your
your
use
opinions?
case.
Yeah.
Depends. It depends.
Depends.
What do you like? What works? What works for you?
So, yeah,
what features do you need?
I mean, you can use both.
Yeah.
Goodness me. So, Navigator 1 is built on top of Navigator. Well, Navigator 1 pushes on top of Navigator 2. So, if you have like Navigator 2 pages, they will always be there, and Navigator 1 will push on top. This is how dialog boxes and pop-up menus work. They're still Navigator 1, right? Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, to be honest, I think you can, all the stuff you can do in Navigator 2, you can still do in Navigator 1, really. It's just maybe not so idiomatic, like that's like, you know, easy or standardized, but you can still get there. If your app is really simple, Navigator 1 is fine. You talk about built-in as well. So you do see default Flutter navigation, right? So Navigator 2 is built in as well.
Yeah.
Like, so, man, you don't need to use a package like Go Router. It just, again, I think I showed this, in fact, my talk on, I've done 2 talks on Navigator 2. Google them, I know. But one of them was covering the Pages API. So Navigator 2 is about 2 APIs, the Router API and the Pages API. The Pages API is just a slight augmentation of Navigator 1, and it means that you can specify a set of pages to a Navigator instance, like that's a widget, right? And in doing so, you can provide your own stack. And literally, if you want to like get rid of some items in the middle of your stack, you just don't specify them. It's literally declarative like widgets. It's brilliant. But then it doesn't handle routing, right? So you still need to like deal with routing and choose which things to put in your pages stack based on routing. And that's what the Router API does. The APIs were invented with the broadest possible use cases in mind, which means that they're not, it's more difficult to work with them directly because they're quite broad in scope, which means that you end up going with packages like Go Router to give you an opinionated way of using Navigator 2. So this comes back to, you know, there's other ones like Route Master, Auto Route. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. There's tons of routing packages.
Yeah.
Pick the one that
I mean, those are the most widely used, probably Go Router and Auto Route.
Yeah, I know Route Master is another one. I feel like there's a couple others I can't remember what they are, but anyway, yeah, there's tons of them. So yeah, find your way. You'll find the one that suits you.
Yep.
Right. What's next?
All right. What do we got? Train of thought. I'm looking to build a custom screen which recursively goes between pagination and declarative routes of custom screen based on a flag.
Okay. Is there a follow-up to this, or they're saying?
That's what I'm looking. I was just wondering.
Oh, yeah, and then it's
I'm not sure how to go about it. Okay.
Okay, so it was. I'm looking to build a custom screen which recursively goes between pagination and declarative routes. I mean, custom based on a flag. I mean exactly that. Am I missing something? Pass your flag to the route. Yeah. Have it pass the constructor of the thing that you're displaying.
But if you're recursively going to the same place, do you really need to navigate, or just?
And so he has a backstack, right?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah, I mean, if you need the backstack, yes. If you just want to change the page layout, then
if you do sort of talk about page layout, that would be different. Right?
Yeah.
I'm I mean, we can look at this again if you want as a code sample.
So he continued, I'm mainly confused about how to do pagination where I need to push screens as I scroll below. So like as you scroll, you want to change screens? Maybe there's a...
Yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah.
I'm confused, yeah.
Yeah.
How to do pagination where I need to push screens as I don't get that as I scroll below.
Yeah.
So I think this might mean like maybe Trent thought maybe you can just like give some input here, but there's a mode of like navigation where you've got like a set of panels that you can swipe between like a pagination, and then each one has its own navigation stack. Is that what you're trying to achieve?
Well, or is he trying to like add widgets to the screen as he scrolls through navigation somehow?
Right. Ask again. Oh yeah, Beamer. Thanks, Mike. Really appreciate that. Let's there's so many options here. Like let's not guess. Let's move on, and then maybe Trent thought maybe the answer here is to upload a code snippet or something to Gist, right? Or explain what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
We'll carry on and then see where we get to.
Yeah. All right. I see Flutter release stable web. Why Flutter isn't using Flutter for web on its own site? Because they're just doing a website and not an app.
It is that kind of thing, right? So I do understand where you're coming from, Bob.
Yeah.
But no, we always say that Flutter. So Flutter renders all the widgets in a canvas, and because it renders all the widgets in the canvas, and it needs to download and load Flutter, like the engine, it means that it's not very search engine friendly, or we call SEO friendly, or search engine optimization friendly. So this means that what you need to do is do server-side rendering. This is when the HTML for the page comes out. It comes down with the relevant tags and metadata necessary for search engines. So this is why other packages exist, such as Jasper, which I'm going to put on the screen. There's a great talk actually at Flutter and Friends on Jasper as well, and it's going from strength to strength. And we've always here on Humpday Q&A recommended this. So if you're trying to build a website and you don't want to be writing JavaScript, then the answer is to use Jasper. So Jasper is a Dart web framework, and you use it just like you do, you can see here, like Flutter, right? So if we go look at, I think this is an example. Let's go load up Weather API, sure. So as you can see here on the left, create an app, and it's got a stateful component, not a stateful widget. Weather API, you still got init state, futures, everything like that. But the build methods return back a list or iterable of components, and then you can return back the widgets like here, search bar and a future with the results, and so on. And you can like multiple Dart files, CSS, HTML. So it's a slightly different way of doing things, but it means that you can build search engine friendly websites. Now I can see how the Flutter team is not going to be rebuilding their website in Jasper because they don't run Jasper, and there's no idea that their efforts aren't going to go in vain, or Jasper's going to die, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like the future's unknown, so they would want to do it themselves. And they're not interested in building a web framework right now. So you're going to see it continue where it is. However, you'll find that all the back-end systems and all the servers that run everything are running Dart code on the server side.
Also, the website is mostly static, right? So you have static website, then you don't even need, like dynamic content. So you can generate website based on, Markdown
I think actual website.
Whatever.
I think actual website is generated using Dart code as well.
Yeah,
might be. Yeah.
All
right. So next, I am building the app prototype with a river pod generator. I am on the right path to switch to block. I'm assuming that's a question. And I guess I'd want to know, if you're building a river pod based app, why would you switch to block?
Sorry, I was just trying to catch up on questions. I'm reading and the app prototype. Hang on, I'm building the app prototype with the Riverpod generator. I'm on the right path to switch to block.
What was the question?
I think the question is, am I on the right path to switch to block? And my question would be, why would you switch to block if you're starting out with Riverpod? Why wouldn't you just start with block? Because, I mean, that's they both serve the same purpose, right? They're both state management solutions. Yeah, I don't know what else we can say there, unless there's follow-up.
Here's what you want this and what you like.
Yeah.
So I'm just going back to the previous question. On,
did you see that it was adding widgets?
He said, once I believe the one update query parent as they scroll. And then it said, yes, I want to add widgets as I scroll.
Yeah, so what I had said, so as they're scrolling, they want to add new widgets into their view. So it sounds like
I'm not following this at all, to be honest.
Well, it'd be like as you scroll, when you get down to the bottom, it then inserts a new widget.
But what's it got to do with navigation?
Well, that's what I didn't.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that it doesn't in that case.
Maybe clearly again. I think we get ahead. So let's carry on with some more questions, and we'll see what we get. If you have anything else to add, train of thought, please do. Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then someone said, yeah. Is it like fetching 10 items the page and then next?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Let's find out. Let's get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jasper is great. You can use it with server point. Yes, it's awesome. Right. Oh, someone said, I think they're asking if Riverpod is the way to go or if they should switch to block.
Well, if that's what they're asking, well, Randall's not here,
thing.
So
I guess it's the same thing. Is use whichever one you want, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, they're different. They work differently. It's which one do you find easier to work with and does what you want.
Yeah. All right. Let's. Where's that? Where is that place? I have to go find the original. This one. This one. Yeah. I'm looking at a custom script which goes between pages.
And declarative routes. No, it still sounds like it's. Yeah.
I'm still not getting it. No. So repost your question. That's it. I'm not going to spend any more time on that. That's next. Let's go next one.
Next. Yeah.
Right, that one.
No, you can get rid of that one.
Oh, yeah.
That was a duplicate.
This one.
All right. Weird behavior on Android only, says Swindler. First time installs run great, but after uninstalling and reinstalling the app, it gets stuck on the splash screen. Any ideas what it could be or how to debug?
Well, I can tell you exactly what it is. So files you're storing in your app directory are getting restored when you reinstall. So by default, local things like shared preferences are saved and restored with your app automatically. So what you've probably got going on there is something like that. So you say splash screen, it just means it's crashing before it gets to displaying something. You can just put a breakpoint in your main function and trace through where it's going. The other side of it is you probably want to make sure that you've got some crash. It sounds to me you probably don't have crash logging sort of set up. So Crash Analytics or Sentry. So yeah, let me bring up Sentry here. So there's a website called Sentry, and they offer like crash support. What's it called? Crash logging. Yeah. They've got a Dart and Flutter SDK, and So what you do is, as you can see here, inside your main method, Sentry in it, put in whatever they send you, which is like your key, and then you just do your run app. And what will happen is if any crashes happen within this function that you're passing in to App Runner, it will log them over to the Sentry website. So this way, even when you're running in release mode, you're going to get some information about what actually went wrong. There you go. And it's that simple, really. There's some obviously different versions. You have to do slightly different things. It's talking about here, and then you can add a Sentry navigation observer that will track navigation, so you can actually see in the history of a user when a crash happens where they went to in your app before it crashed, so you can get some information. There's also a way of tracking logs, custom logs, and some other things to the and custom fields and all sorts of other funky things like the user ID and whatever else. So yeah, I'll pop this in the chat, but that's probably what I would go to. So first things first, try and step through, debug it, right? And if you're not having luck running in debug mode and put a breakpoint in there and everything else, then I would suggest that you get something like Sentry installed and actually capture the issues that are going wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you'll find it's just because things. Oh, and you can also do this. So another command you can run. I'll pop in the chat here. ADB.
ADB
So
log.
do. Yeah. So in your shell, like in your command line, ADB log cat. If you run -c, that'll clear the logs. And then if you run it again without the -c, then what you'll get from that is just the logs from that point onwards. Otherwise, you're going to get like hours of logs being scrolled out to you. So once you've done that, you then try and reinstall your app, and you'll see this will be everything. There's a log, the radio signal, and like how good the bandwidth is, like all this stuff spewing out, right? But if you reinstall your app, then you'll get the logs of what it's doing, and it will tell you it's restoring the backup, or it's doing this, or it's doing that, and that can give you the extra metadata that you need, extra information you need to kind of diagnose what's going wrong. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
So this was back to the Navigator 2 Go Router question. So when to use Navigator 1 versus Navigator 2 as a follow-up?
Yeah.
When you want more flexibility, maybe then use Navigator 2.
Interesting. I think pretty much every app that I've done, I've been using Go Router, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just because it gives me flexibility into the future. Mainly it's around things like web, right? Where you have a URL and you want that to enter into the apps, you need the extra routing capability without having to like roll it yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing I'd say, that the only reason I'd be using it. Again, it depends on how complex your navigation structure is. So for example, if you just got your most standard application, you can just do Navigate 1. You can still do it with the web stuff. You can like get the string that it's trying to start with and choose which route to return from your on route builder, right? On build route, whatever it is. I think then you've got like, Navigate 2 is great. I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, pick and choose. I feel like there was another point there, but I've lost it. Right.
How can I cache the HLS audio I'm using? I'm assuming with a package called just_audio.
Oh, you're funny. You're so funny. You don't. There you go. So let me be clear. Well, you don't. So, okay, Essie, you ready for this? You don't. No. So let me just explain what's going on and the reason why you can't. Okay, and the reason why it's really difficult to do this. Okay. So HLS, for those that don't know, is I think it's hypertext, like HTTP live streaming, which might be stand for like hypertext live stream or something weird. I'm forgetting it. Yeah, it's gonna bug me. Yeah. HTTP live streaming. Remembered. Right. So basically the HLS format is you have M3U playlist files that list segments of audio or video of content at different bit rates. So the idea here, different encoding. So the idea here is that depending on your device, may only work with, let's say, MP4 or H.264, not H.265 codec. So you'd have multiple streams listed in your M3U playlist files, one for each of those two codecs, and then the device can choose which stream to start reading the data from based on which codecs it supports. The same thing works on quality level, have different quality levels, and it would choose which stream to start downloading based on your bandwidth. If you're on a really slow connection, it's going to choose the smallest quality. And this is what would, in fact, not too long ago, what YouTube used to do. When you start a YouTube video, you always get like the lowest quality version, then in like 5 seconds, and it would jump to a high quality version and piss everyone off. And that was basically because their algorithm was a bit messed up, that bug probably at the time, where it would not recognize you had any bandwidth at the beginning and therefore choose the lowest quality version. And then what happens is it's split up normally into chunks of like 7 to 10 seconds each. And the idea is that as your bandwidth changes, so imagine you're out and about, you got GPRS H1, whatever it is, like low GPRS or whatever, like really low bandwidth, which is the low one. And then when you get your oh my god, my brain's not working.
Well, if you're going to cell or Wi-Fi or multi,
Wi-Fi, whatever, then it will be like, okay, you got on this high bandwidth. So within 7 seconds, it can switch between the different quality levels automatically. So that's basically the whole idea of HLS streaming and how it works. And there's also encryption and security and a bunch of other stuff. So this is why there's no like, I'm just going to go download the audio, I'm going to cache the audio, because to cache the audio of HLS, you're caching everything. You're caching all the different versions. You don't cache in HLS, right? HLS is nothing you can cache. There is live streaming. It only works for live streaming. You want a separate URL, a separate download, which is the entire audio file that you can then download and cache, and then you play that back instead of the HLS file, right? So that's how you deal with that. So there you go. Basically, you don't. And you should have a separate URL for that. If you're trying, you can, if you really want to build an M3U playlist decoder, or find something and then decode it yourself and then download each of the parts, join all the parts together into one file and build yourself a cache of a particular quality level and codec and everything else. That's what the player does. However, I think you're going about it the wrong way if you're doing that, right? Like you should have, if you have this content, have the content be also built with a cacheable version alongside, and just download it, right? Anything to add, guys? I kind of just like slam that one.
No, that's
it just gave me flashbacks. I'm doing live.
Yeah, I know, right? Like flashbacks of early Android where like you couldn't do HLS live. Like, there was a time for those that a minute, 2013, 2012, 2013, I think it was. Oh, we lost a Raph.
Yep,
He
had
too many flashbacks.
He's not caching apparently.
Yeah, he's not caching very well. So about 2012, 2013, when HLS first became popularized, I think it was around that time, maybe 2010. I know it's around that sort of time, a few years later, and here he is, he's back.
He's back.
Sorry, the live streaming always
live streaming. You said you weren't caching properly.
You weren't caching. Had the buffer.
So when HLS live streaming first came out, it was pushed out on. It was done by Apple. And it meant that all the Apple devices got this and the Android devices didn't. And there's a big hoo-ha at the time of everyone trying to get the latest version of Android and everything to get HLS live streaming and apps to support HLS live streaming before the operating system supported it. And there was a bunch of stuff around shipping your own decoding and video player inside your app. Anyway, that was a time ago. Right. Yes, next.
All right, Dustley, first time making an app for a client. All right, congrats. Which Apple developer account should I use, ours or our clients? And also, how do you usually provide test versions of the app? So I would say it depends on the first one. on how you want to do it. But it's who's publishing it. Are you publishing it, or is the client publishing it?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if the client's publishing it, then you would do it under their app ID for publishing, at least. Now, providing test versions, you could do under your own personal one, or you could do it under theirs. It just makes it more difficult, right? I mean,
I think the problem you've got, if you create any App Store listing, it has to be transferred between accounts. Like you have an account owner, which means if you can create them on your account, however, you then need to transfer it to their account for them. You never, ever, ever publish an app under your own account for someone else.
Right.
That's a cheap way of getting your account completely banned. Not because you're doing that, but because if they do something wrong, it comes back to your account, and then your account is banned. So don't ever do that, because you're not in control of how they publish in the future or whatever else, right? Also, you want to give them access to your account or other things.
Right.
So the way this normally works is, if you're going to publish something, create an app store listing, an app store organization account or whatever for both of them, and then have them have ownership on it, and
they can always add you as a developer, right? So
they can add you as like the owner or admin as well. Like there's one account which is considered, so on app store, the account owner, which is the account that actually has control over the App Store listing and the App Store account as a whole. And there's another account, the account that creates the App Store listing, the Play Store, whatever listing, Google Play listing on Android, is the one that is the owner. And again, to move them around, just to be clear, to move them around. So on Apple, to move them around, you have to have a legible account. So there's a whole selection around that. It's been the same if it's a managed account, you have to be like the same organization structure as a bunch of other stuff. And on Apple, on Android, if you want to move an app listing between accounts, you have to provide the original sale receipt for your $15 that you originally paid for when you set up your account, which for me was like, I don't know, 20 years ago. I have no idea where that is. So yeah, it's not a simple process, shall we say.
Well, there's ways around that though, right? Like, so say I'm developing an app for you. I could give you test versions if my package ID and the app ID is totally different.
True.
And that's all I have to change then when I give you the code to go publish it under the other account. Now you could say, well, that hasn't been tested, but
as long as you know how to change the IDs correctly, because you do have to change.
There's a few places.
Changing the bundle IDs, not too bad on Apple. Change them on Android. You have to change the folders in your source directory to match the bundle ID. And the library, the package name at the top of the Java or Kotlin files has to be changed.
I think there's a generator or something that helps you do that if you need to do it, but. And you won't.
There's also guides online. Like this isn't just for Flutter. This is an Android thing as well. So.
But easiest way is you write it and publish it under theirs. You use Test Flight for test builds and then publish under their account.
Yeah, or Firebase.
That's the recommended way
if you want.
Or they publish it, whatever. But
make sure you get if you have questions, make sure you get them in the
if you
chat.
Pop it in there here and there. There's some more follow-up.
Our time zone hasn't changed for us, but I will say that we did kind of start very late. We weren't sure we were going to make it today.
We were a few minutes late.
So we didn't give much notice. So apologies. All
right.
Also, if you were, for me, it's an hour difference because I've kind of come back from an hour time zone difference from another country. So, Randall's missing. Randall couldn't make it today. Maybe he might pop up, but we'll see.
Yeah, he might. Who knows? That was our scheduling snafu. We were trying to figure out if we were having a show with people traveling and stuff. So,
greetings from London as well. There you go. Greetings from Prague. You are most welcome. Right. Remember, get your questions in the chat with Q in front. And we've still got more questions, so we'll still get to them. And then we'll do some live coding. think we'll call. We'll try and finish within the hour. So if you get your questions in now, this will be the final call, and then whatever ones we sort of get to, we'll get into the list, and then we'll try and do some live coding.
And MD's trying to call Randall. You got to say it 3 times though. You got to say Riverpod 3 times. It's like Beetlejuice.
Right. Let's see what's next. No, we did that one, didn't we?
That was one we just did. Yep. So next, how can we create a custom scroll view that loads more data? Okay, so this is a revised version, I think, of the last one. That loads more data as I scroll down, but instead of adding small widgets like list tiles, I want to load a completely new screen. Well, then you're not adding it.
Oh, wait. Someone's been looking at too many TikToks. Someone wants to do like TikTok, right? This is the entire screen, right? Like your video content moves down, like so the entire screen is. You don't need to. The difference is that's it. There's just a scroll view. Literally is. We'll do it in a minute if you want to. Like train of thought. Like you're talking about having a page view set to vertical that. When you get near the bottom, it loads more content, adds more data into its list, and does a rebuild, and then it's going to scroll to more data. That's it. Yeah. And you just have the list view of each page contain the navigation structure and UI for the entire thing. You can also do a thing where you've kind of got the content, and you've got some stack with some stuff on top of you, and as they scroll, it fades out and fades back in again. So it kind of gives it a bit of binds it together a bit. But if you're interested in trying to talk something like that, is that what you're trying to get to? Then we could probably code that up. But yeah, there's no real navigation that's taking place, right? You're just loading more data and showing more data.
Right. And it's just instead of a list tile, it's a my custom widget, which is got all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
It's interesting. We talk about navigation, right? Like I'm going to just get a bit conceptual here for a second. This is a bit off. I'm going to take the question off the screen because it's not on that topic. But we talk about navigation, and I think it's not clear to it. I had this question. This question came asked to me. Was it last? I don't know. Someone asked this question recently of me, and it was like, "Well, what is navigation? Like, how does it work?" Right? And I think there's a question here around like not understanding what routes are, how they work with navigation and widgets and everything else, and how that kind of comes together. I will say, short. All navigation, all routing, it's all widgets. Basically. Yep. So for want of a better word right now, you have a navigator widget, and a navigator widget maintains a overlay, and the overlay contains the widgets that represent those screens. Those are managed by the routes. The routes are like the model object that bind the widgets into the tree and provide the animations and things and control of to go between screens. So you've kind of got the two things that bind together. We could look into this a bit more. Right. Let's go on to the next question. We get some live coding then.
Yeah. Which DB should I use for real-time location, read and write, SQL, Supabase, or NoSQL? Consider scale and latency if possible, price as well. It's a big question. Real-time location, reading and
Just
writing.
consider everything for me and do my job. Yeah.
Right.
I'm joking. The price is up to you. Like the price is your point, and we obviously always consider price and what we would recommend, but it's up to you how much you want to spend, right? So which DB? So NoSQL doesn't. None of the NoSQL databases I've seen really handle location very well, right? So real-time location read and write. You normally want to be, I'm assuming, querying people's location. Hang a minute. Randall says he can join us in 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So, right. So, anyway, so coming back to, we should.
Yeah.
Right.
Why isn't she coming?
Yeah, exactly. Right. We got our little private chat going in. Sorry, guys. Right. So, yeah. So back to the question was real time read write location. What database should you consider? The problem you've got is to query data about longitude latitudes. You're querying a two-dimensional index, right? So I'm trying to think of a good way to explain this that's simple, right? So if you had things in a column, right? Let's talk about it like this. Yeah, things sat in a column, one thing after another, right? And they were indexed from 1, 2, 3, 4 down to 10, right? You've got 10 items, right? If you want to find number 5 and you know where, like, you went, well, let's say you want to find where something is, you can say, oh, I know where number 5 is in this set, right? Same goes for like horizontally. You can do like 1 to 10 and find out where something is. But how do you know where something is if they say, well, does it fall between from these two sets? Does it fall between this range and this range, and the two things combined? So that's essentially, and then it gets a bit even more difficult if you're trying to do depth with clustering and stuff like this because you've got a third dimension to your query. So coming back to forget about real time, it should be real time, right? Like it's just how it works. So what is the best database you should use to read and write locations? And that comes down to what features the various databases offer. At the moment, I've settled on this exact same problem. I've settled on using Postgres. Postgres offers PostGIS, which is a extension, a plugin, which offers really good support for geography, geometry, and querying for stuff in these 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional data structures. So Superbase is actually backed off of Postgres. I believe they have PostGIS support. I would expect so. That would have to be Googled. But so yeah, out of what you said here, I'd say use Superbase. There are ways of using NoSQL to solve this problem. However, NoSQL is not really designed for this, right? It's not really meant for this type of request access. So what you might be better off doing is having some data stored over here and some data stored over there, and have used the best of both. You can actually use Postgres as a NoSQL data store as well. So Postgres actually supports the JSON column type, JSON-B column type, and you can actually set up indexes on the keys and various things, and have a really good NoSQL type data store alongside having indexes for locations and things. So yeah, hopefully that helps. I'm kind of just smashing these. Sorry. Right, what's next?
Any disadvantage to using lots of isolates all over the place in your app? Maybe. Maybe not.
Sorry, I'm trying to.
Yeah, the ones that, yeah. So I mean, I guess it depends on. Are you using them in a way that could cause issues? Where one's running while another one's running, and you need something from A versus B, and just proper architecture is really what you need in that case. But otherwise, I mean, the point of isolates is to help speed up the app, right? Do things in the background that you can, and so in theory, as long as it's architected correctly, no, there's no disadvantage.
Yeah. I mean, so always keep an eye on the amount of work that you're doing, Alex. I mean, if you get, let's say you've got, you're passing objects in and you're going to create 100,000 isolates within 1 second. Well, of course, there's a disadvantage to doing that because your app's going to slow to a halt because you're trying to at that point, you've got too much overhead to little gain, right? So, again, it's about managing your architecture of how you're using isolates, right? For the most part, you'd be pretty tough to get into a situation where you're doing that, right? You'd have to be, again, like what I just said, an example, like every line of JSON I get back, I'm going to like create an isolate and run that, like, or something like, it's not going to be practical. Yeah, we'll see. But
Yeah.
hopefully that helps. Yeah.
Yeah. When do I know that I really need to use an isolate, and how does it affect the device's resources? When to know if I really need to use it? When you have something that you can run in the background, and tends to be, I'd say most of the time it's like a fire and forget, right?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a definitely tough one. I'll be honest with you, it's not very often I use isolates.
No.
Right? So the reason when you use isolates, so use isolates as a way of gaining back performance. So for example, okay. So first of all, let me be clear. So if you if you take 1 second and split it into 60, you're going to get 16 milliseconds, right? For each 1/60th of a second, right? So in doing so, this means that each frame of graphics that you render, that your app has to build, has to happen within 16 milliseconds. Now, let's say it takes 10 milliseconds for the device to calculate the tree, do building, and work out the widgets, render the build the render objects, and send them to the GPU and have the GPU render them. That's literally what has to happen if you're changing everything constantly every frame. That's why you might get frame skips, because you're just trying to do too much within that 60 millisecond window. The idea of the way that Flutter works is that it maintains the widgets, it maintains the render objects. So you do as little as possible by simply just changing the position of the widgets and saying render in this new position on the screen, and then it sends over the new set of instructions, the command for the GPU to run to display in the new position. So taking a step back, what we're saying here is if you've got any work that's not to do with your app building stuff on the screen, that means you're probably doing things like I don't know, let's say parsing JSON or processing an image, for example. I'm going to process all the pixels of an image to change the color of them and do some weird, I don't know, filter, right? Well, I'm not going to do that on the main. I'm not going to do the main isolate, right? And I'm not going to do that because I know that that's going to take quite a bit longer than 16 milliseconds. So I would stall my frame, my rendering pipeline, and stall the app from being workable for an undetermined amount of time, because it depends on how big the image is and how many pixels it has.
Yeah.
So that's when I go, okay, I'm going to go use an isolate for that. You see, so it's about those long-running processes that are going to take longer. Now, let me take a step back. This is why async and await is very important. So if your function is asynchronous and then it awaits something else, that pauses that function from continuing, but it does not pause the isolate, right? It's called a coroutine. And the idea is that many coroutines can be running on one isolate at once. And whilst they're waiting, they're not doing anything. So they're not going to take up any processing time. So, for example, when you read some data from a file and it has an await, like read file, right? What it's going to do is it's literally going to pause the Dart coroutine running on that isolate, going to wait for the operating system to return the bytes to Dart, and then Dart will then continue from that await with that data now. So this way, that time that it was spent waiting for the operating system is not pausing your app. It's going to continue doing other coroutines. So the isolate is going to continue doing all this other work, so you're using the process time effectively, right? It means that you will definitely use that one CPU core to the best of its ability. And that's why coroutines are really important for modern programming, right? So async and await works wonders. But then there's times when you want to truly have parallel workloads, and that's where isolates come involved. So isolate is like a thread. It's not the same. Like a thread, it has. I don't want to get into the weeds of too many concepts here, because I'm going to go on side. But a process that a program runs in is considered one address space normally. That's one set of memory that multiple threads can use. The problem is with doing that is if you have the two cores of the process trying to access the same memory at the same time, the same data, they can both try and read and write at the same time, and then they get clashes and you get problems. This is called thread synchronization. It's about synchronizing threads. Their changes to the memory happen in sequence so that you don't read or write the wrong data or corrupt each other's data in some fashion. This is one of the reasons why isolates exist. So isolates allow you to have an isolated thread and memory space. And in doing so, it means you can never have those thread synchronization problems and corruptions of your data. So instead of having data that's shared, you have send messages back and forth. And when you send a message across from one isolate to another, the other isolate becomes the owner of that data. And in doing so, there is shared memory, there is stuff that's going on, but that's done by Dart for you, so you don't have to worry about it. The idea is that you send that message across the isolate boundary, and that data is then sent over to the other isolate, and it becomes the owner of it. So this is quite important to understand this concept. So there is lots of information. In fact, I will post a good link to some information around this. There is a Dart concurrency page. Yeah,
and I think Ralph shared a link in the private chat as well.
Sorry, Ralph, I didn't see that.
Isolates in Flutter. Yeah.
No worries.
Is this the talk from Google I/O?
I sent 3 links. One is
Oh my god,
from
I
the
can't see any of
channel.
them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Having flashbacks and dealing with synchronization contexts and stuff for
wait till you build your own operating system and have to deal with the true CPU context. Then you have fun. I did that once. Right, I'll post all 3 links. So if anyone's interested in this stuff, you can go and check. Yeah. So there's 3 links there. Oh, did it squash them? I think they're okay.
Yeah, they're good.
To be clear, I want to explain this thing about copying data just briefly, because it's one of the things that confuses people. It's one of the reasons why we say singletons are bad. Okay, so let me explain. You're in your main thread. You have a singleton that has like the cache of messages or whatever it is that you've got in your app. Then you start up an isolate, and inside the isolate, you try and access that messages. Well, guess what? It wasn't instantiated inside the isolate, so it doesn't have in fact that value when you read it back. The instance is null, right? Or even worse, it does a fork of the memory. That means a copy of the memory was copied across. Now you have 2 independent singletons. Well, they're not singletons anymore, are they? So one isolate is going to be reading one set data and changing it. The other one's going to be reading a different set data and changing it. And now they're completely different copies of the objects. And again, you're going to be confused about which one is which. And this really comes into why these things kind of come back as problems, right? Like you can really get into problems if you don't understand. So just to note, if you do think you've got multiple objects you're dealing with isolates, that's a problem. You want to output the hash code. The hash code of the object will be different for the different instances. It's object.identity hash. I think it's objects.identity hash. Maybe is the function. I'm John. Basically, identity hash code in Dart core. It is a top level function. I will post a link in the chat. So this identity hash code function at the top level will give you not the overridden hash code function of the object. It will give you the underlying hash code that is the identity, the number, the unique number that identifies this object in the Dart environment, right? So in the Dart runtime when it's running. So that way you can output that on the 2 objects. And if they're the same, then you know it's exactly the same object. And if they're different, well, then they're different instances of the same object. Even though they will look like the same getter or static getter or whatever, there'll be different instances. Anyway, different instances in different memory spaces.
Yep.
I mean, again, that's the reason why things like ISAR exists to take over from things like Hive, right? Things move on. Cool. Let's get a few more questions going. and see where we get to.
See how many we get in.
Yeah, don't repost questions because we won't get to it otherwise. And I'm doing the job of Rando today, so I'm failing miserably at trying to work things out. So please don't.
Right. I think next up is Durang. I think in our list is starred.
Sorry, hey a minute. This one.
Yes. Is it possible to add text overflow.marquee? I mean, you could add it yourself if you want to create a PR, but
is there a marquee?
I don't believe so.
There's marquee option built in.
Is there? No, I didn't think so. Is there? That's a good question.
I think it's something
I haven't looked in a long time.
Wait, I feel like I've seen that, but then maybe I've just been. Oh, that's gonna bug.
There's a package.
Oh,
I think there's a package, yeah, because I think it's either clip, fade, eclipse, or ellipsis, or visible. Or your only
I mean,
option.
it's super easy to add. So
yeah,
you know,
I mean, yeah.
I mean, if you want to know how you do it, just you stick your text widget in the scroll view, and then with an animation controller, animate the scroll position, and then set the physics to never scroll. That's it.
Yeah.
So they can't touch it and scroll it, but then you can control the scroll with the scroll controller, and then that can be controlled by an animation.
Yeah,
and you can just have it keep going round and round.
There's a few different packages. There's just go out to pub dev and search for marquee, and you'll find somebody that's done.
I'm just giving an example. Yeah, I'm just giving an example. How you do it. Another more efficient way of doing this would be with the flow widget. The flow widget lets you control the position of where something's painted. It doesn't relay it out. So all you're doing is you're painting the text and clipping it, right? Yeah. And if you wanted to fade it out, you can do that with a shader mask widget, which would allow you to fade the edges.
But if you actually want to add it as an option for text overflow, you could build it and submit a PR.
Yeah. I'm not sure. See marquee. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure that I would pose. First of all, I'd look to see if there's any other issues raised and see if they've already commented on them. And if they haven't, raise an issue, comment, and then leave a comment as to find out if they're interested in you adding that feature. The problem here is like marquees are not very user friendly, and they went out of fashion a long time ago. So I'd be interested in understanding why you think you need a marquee. There should be other ways of doing most UX without a marquee.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like where I've seen it. I think the only app I've seen it in recently is maybe Spotify, where it takes the name of the song, I think it is. And when it's too long, it scrolls it, and then it scrolls it back the other direction. So it kind of keeps going back and forth, I think, if I remember right.
Oh, look.
Hey, Randall's here. We have a Randall sighting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm getting my screen set up. So
somebody said River 3 times and he showed up.
Yeah. So as I say, like there are not very many uses for it. No, to be honest. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Let's move on. Next. I guess.
We have a gist, I think, next. Yeah, laggy two-dimensional grid viewport gist.
All right, we're gonna. I'll grab that. And we'll come back to that in a bit. Let's carry on, and we'll come back to
the next one's a pretty nebulous question here. What is a fail-safe way to go about solving a complex problem pertaining to Flutter?
Ask on Stack Overflow.
Yeah, find us in Stack Overflow or in Discord or someplace.
I have to say that's what debugger's for, isn't it? Yeah. Am I missing something?
Well, I think it's more like what steps do you go through, and I guess it kind of depends on the problem as to where you turn, right? I mean, if it's a UI issue, you might use the dev tools to display some of the information that it gives you to be able to try and figure out what's going on in the UI. Or if it's logic issue, you're probably just going to be in the debugger. So I think there's no fail-safe way. It's
skill.
I mean, it's just learning how to do debugging and the tools that are available to you. I mean,
or natural talent like I had.
Randall came out of the womb with the ability to debug.
I was already coding. was already
He was like,
He popped out and said, "Where's my
Fred,
keyboard?"
hello world.
no, he's
20
like,
go to
bright
10.
light, put me back.
Yeah, right.
Close the
You're putting glare on my screen.
Don't
all
worry,
right.
this
Let's go
gets
to the next one.
cancelled or
It's
banned or
proof,
something.
proof that I didn't get enough sleep last night. It's obvious.
Let's see.
Go on.
You've got a few marked that aren't actually questions, but I think because you were going to show them or something.
Points
But
that were brought up here. Hang on, I'm trying to do multiple things at once.
Oh, is there questions
right.
for me?
no,
Okay.
this was when we were
Yeah, I just
talking
want to-
about the database options. Yeah.
It's really good.
What else? That's he asked this question that he said, "Oh, wait, if we're done." Yeah. So
carry on. We'll carry on with some questions for now.
we did that one, so we can
Did we?
skip that one. Yep, that was
Right.
we did that when we were talking about isolates. Here we go. Are there any other frameworks that you know of built on Dart, sort of like Flutter is?
I just said
Depends what
Jasper.
like
Jasper,
Flutter.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's more like a web element producer. That would then include the category of Angular Dart too. So
Yeah, Angular Dart.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like-
there are. Yeah.
there was
I-
there was originally, as prior to Angular Dart, there was 3 or 4 other frameworks that they tried for a while too. Polymer and what was the other one? There was a few weird ones because I was trying to build a website and they kept changing the technology out from under me and said, no, this is the one we're going to use. And then they finally came up with Angular, and then they abandoned Angular 2 years later. So, abandoned to us. They're using it heavily internally. We're just not seeing that version out in public. That's fine. Their choice. ServerPod isn't really a framework for Flutter.
Well, this is the problem. Like we said, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
what do you mean, like
like
it
means
renders
anything.
widgets? Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Ambiguous question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
What's
so
next?
we can get rid of that one. I am looking forward to having some help for implementing a chat feature using. It says GraphQI. Is that supposed to be GraphQL?
GraphQL,
I'm
probably.
assuming. Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to you getting some help too.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're supposed
Yeah,
to
that's
for that.
I mean, I don't know.
That's not a
Well,
very
I
specific
need-
question.
Yes. Yes. We prefer specific questions that can be answered in the space of 4 to 7 minutes, since it's our typical answer time, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like, go ask for some help. I mean, just I'm not sure I can give any like tips other than use GraphQL to achieve a goal. It really depends on the GraphQL library you're using. There's no direct. I can't think of any sort of direct help. I mean,
and it's possible you'll be using a layer that creates GraphQL, so you won't necessarily have to know a lot of the details about it. It looks to you like you're querying objects and collections of objects, networks of objects, but really those are going to map into GraphQL as the medium of choice rather than REST to be able to get the answer back.
If you're looking for an example, I just tossed one in the private chat, Simon. It looks like somebody has a GitHub repo where they built a chat client using GraphQL. So you could check it out.
Cool.
And that might help get you started. One good statement. Could you please, provider.
Riverpod.
Block.
Riverpod provider block. They're the ones that I think are most common.
There's
right
one
now.
that we won't mention that you shouldn't use, but other than that,
those are the big 3. Those are the ones that people mostly use because mostly other people are using them, and that helps when they have questions and want to go out on the net and find answers.
Mm-hmm. All right, Adele wants to know, what is the best way to implement playing video DRM as a native and host it in Flutter app? So I'm assuming it's playing DRM content.
You kind of have to use their
in a
player
Flutter app.
if you're going to do that. So
Sorry, I'm trying to just find questions and stuff. Sorry. What's the best way of playing it? Well, just use the video player package.
Video
There you go.
player.
Yeah.
I mean,
other than that,
you can, if you want to, you can decrypt the DRM stream yourself. You can do all the magical stuff in Dart, and you can even output pixels and have them to be displayed. I mean,
if you want to, but why would you want to?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just
No,
use
think
the. You
about
said
the
native.
video
You said
player.
native, right? Like video player supports DRM natively.
Yeah, because it just wraps the native
Exaplayer, yeah.
basically. So yeah,
Mhm.
Exaplayer and whatever. I forgot what's the.
It may be
I
that
guess
on the platform they're trying to
called.
use, it doesn't support it, but the ones you probably want to target do.
Yeah.
Right. What's next?
I don't know.
Somebody knows.
Did we say?
Which one you got
I
next?
feel like I've skipped some. Did we do this one?
Manish, no, we have not done this. I used DO request to compute, but interceptors was. Oh, this was just talking about
Okay. Whoops.
isolates and causing errors. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a good thing. Yeah. If
Yeah.
you use a background isolate, you might need to call background isolate binary messenger to initialize it. I spoke of that in last week's stream, and I think the week before. So yeah, go to those.
What do you use as a payment gateway for Flutter Web? There are not many options. Yeah, there aren't.
Stripe. I think it was just in the chat, and that's the one I recommend.
Yeah.
What's actually interesting is the browser actually supports payments, like a feature that's built in. So if you have your like cards saved in the browser, you can like put them into like the payment gateway, and you can actually do that with Dart and Flutter as well using Jasper. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Right. Is it possible to do the AES one?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to look at that plan. Is it possible to use the AES 128-bit CBC encryption in Dart? Yes. There you go. There's a Pointicasa package. There's a crypto package. Both of them support this. So yes. There you go.
And payment package options that accept Apple Pay on behalf of a very large company.
IBM?
No, I think Stripe does. You can do it yourself though. You don't need, like, you talk about package. You don't need a package. You understand this? Like the device is the bit that does the Apple Pay. It has an API. You can do that. It sends you back like the token. You send it to your server, and then your server calls the Apple server API to confirm it and to accept it. Like it's like you don't need a third-party provider to offer Apple Pay and Google Pay. It's your app with your server. That's it. That's the whole reason for them doing that they can take the money and they can take their commission without having to involve anyone else, right? It's a question of if you only want to support those. If you want to support like something Visa, MasterCard, and all these other things, well, now you need a payment provider to offer a common interface that you can use to use all these payment providers, and that's where someone like Stripe comes in, or pick your one, right?
Yeah.
All right. We're done with live questions. No more live questions.
That's it.
That's it. Let me get rid of that banner. I don't want that banner. Right. Randall, you conveniently came when all the questions were finished. I see your trick. I see.
Hey, look, I checked in
Good
at
job.
7:30 my time, just like I
You
kept
did.
saying I was going to do. And then I saw no movement that you had even been seen or heard from since Flutter and Friends.
Yeah.
And so I presumed there was no show since I knew Scott was. And so I went back. I went back to sleep and kind of. Is John pinging here?
Yeah, he's fine. He's back.
Okay, good.
Speaking of sleep,
what
I guess I will move.
So let's see. We had an example that was given to us. Let's see if we can about two-dimensional scrolling or something. I don't know. Should we see if I can get that?
Okay, guys.
So
you
laggy two-dimensional grid view.
Yeah. Sorry, you have to go, do you, Raf?
Yeah, you have fun.
Yeah,
so because Randall has to sleep, so yeah, I will go to sleep. You can switch.
I'm mostly awake so far. There's tea in here. It's very strongly caffeinated tea, so I'm trying to get my eyes all the way up.
20 tea bags.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's actually just one tea bag is just about right. So it's Sometimes I put 2 in, and sometimes I leave the 1 in and then put the second one in. So the second round is stronger sometimes than the first round. I like it because it's a nice, big, sturdy travel mug and has the size that fits in the
cup holders.
Size. Yeah, it's clever of them to do that. I also have my Flutter Stanley Cup.
Oh, there you go.
That's for my cold drinks, not my hot drinks. So that thing is huge, man. I feel that, and I'm like drinking out of it for like 2 hours. Great though. That was one of the perks, I think, from either GDE or Flutter. Did you get one, Simon?
Yeah.
Okay, so it must be Flutter Insiders. Yep.
Okay, nice flexing here, but I'm going to sleep.
Yeah. See you later.
See you guys. See you next week. Cheers.
Yep.
Nice to see you again. Right, let me see if I can get this up right.
The Google Developer Community Online Discord on their sort of their general channel. It's called Coffee Chat. As people are waking up and going to sleep, they're saying good night and good morning. Of course, it's like an 18-hour window that happens.
Yeah, right.
So, and of course, I'm way out here. I'm like the last people to say good morning. So I say good morning from the left coast and from the time zone of Google headquarters.
Right. Hey, look.
Yeah, every day I'm fluttering. I don't think I have one of those. It must be.
No.
This was from AppShack,
Nice.
a Swedish app development company. It's recycled plastic. It's quite nice.
Oh, nice.
Came as one of my little take homes from the conference, including Rado. You didn't see this earlier, but this is cool.
You have a globe.
Well, it says Flutter and Friends, and it has like a little light up stand. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It has like a light up stand as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not getting my fingerprints all over it.
That's the best swag. Someday I'll be coming to meetings like that. Whatever the DD program will pay for.
FlutterCon USA coming up end of the month.
I know. It's too early. Too early.
Not too early. It's not the day before. It's not
2 weeks.
It takes time to get it approved through the GDE process. So would have had to start about a month ago.
I was still looking at stuff yesterday.
We can make it happen.
We do have a few insider connections. It's true.
I'm still debating if I'm going or not. I might.
What? No, John. No, not having this. I'm going to be flying across the entire Atlantic Ocean, and you guys can't get a train or something.
It's not a train for me.
No, the flight's the easy part. It's the hotel that's killing.
Yeah,
man.
We can sort that out. Get an Airbnb. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. We have some code to look at, don't we?
Did you pull up the gist?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Okay. And I'm gonna have to jump in about 5 minutes or so for my.
All right.
Oh, then I got here just in time then.
Yeah.
Right. So we have a few little things we want to do. So we've got let's get this up. So I've got a gist open here, and it was something to do with two-dimensional scroll view or something.
Leggy two-dimensional grid view port.
Let's see if I can get this running.
Somebody was asking about that on.
Maybe it was empty?
Maybe somebody was looking to build like a grid view and have it two-directionally scrolling, and they didn't know about two-dimensional scroll.
The new, yeah,
but I'm looking at this here, and it just, I'm not.
You're not seeing anything?
Oh, I'm not. I'm confused, put it that way. I'm confused right now. We'll see. Let me get there.
Ooh.
Let's take a look at it and see.
We get Simon into a confused state. That's scary.
All right.
It's not that scary.
Good question.
I know nothing.
If it's pressing Simon's knowledge, that's great. That means it's really a good question.
Right, we're gonna. So it's apparent assembly. We assemble. Avengers assemble. Right.
Oh, cool.
All right.
Where are we?
I've never seen Avengers disassemble though. I think if they were
No.
debugging, they wouldn't.
Avengers
be able to-
decompile. Right.
Avengers reverse engineer.
That's a
Extract
completely
source
different-
code.
That's a completely different show. Right. So, come on.
Select
Still the
sleep.
80K.
I already tell.
There we go. Right. Oh, look at that. We have
Pretty.
some various
All
colors.
right.
Pretty
Ooh,
colors.
lots of colors.
So,
Yes.
I'm trying to understand here. So we've got a clone of render tree viewport post. Now, these three classes were shipped in here, but these to me look like they're clones of the ones that are built into the framework.
Well, that's silly.
Not usable for large items. Two-dimensional custom paint grid view instead. Okay. So scroll behavior, support them all, sure. So this is the one that you're saying is laggy. I mean, you're building a hell of a lot of delicates here. You're building a hell of a lot of widgets.
Yeah.
Cache extent 500. Grid dimension 20. I mean, wow, it's that laggy. What are you doing?
Don't insert a print into any inner loop. You'll just be a huge scroll.
Well, there isn't any, so that's
Wow.
good. I mean, that's good. That is like,
He says
Right,
it's
so let's-
easier to build for Windows, but I don't know.
well, I
That
don't
would
really,
make
it
it-
shouldn't make a difference either way.
No.
Let's see what's going on here, shall we? So text is not probably the appropriate widget to use here. Let's just get rid of that for a second. I want to know what happens without that.
Oh, because of all the extra text painting going on.
Yeah, well, do we get a... No, it's just allocating too much memory. This is...
He's saying layout child sequence, line 128.
All right, well, I'll look in a minute. I want to know... Let's do it. Let's find deep things and see what's wrong. That's what I'm looking for. Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
it's slow.
Where's my? I'm trying to get these the right way around. Like all this change. No. That way. Yes. Sorry, performance. Well, it's not too bad.
Memory wise, but frames.
Well, considering it's building 17,000 widgets, I think it's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's your problem right there, that you're trying to build more widgets than you need to.
Yeah.
I mean,
What do you expect from a phone?
$5,009. Okay.
So
Right, max index.
So what's he doing in his layout on line 128?
All right, let's go take a look. I just want to completely get rid of all of this and do the same thing a certain way and see how it goes. Like that's what we're talking about. Line 128. I actually haven't taken advantage of some of these new things. Right, 128.
Right. No, right there, the render. Yeah. Okay.
Perform on ISA. Can't wait for UI. What are you doing? Max row count, leading column, trailing column. It's a grid. What are you doing? Right, I need to understand. Sorry, this is like okay. So you've got your viewport XY,
Mm-hmm.
your viewport width height, plus cache extent.
So, yeah.
Sure. I mean, this is not technically correct because you want the cache extent to be negative half, positive half,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
around the viewport. But sure, we'll leave that. Let's not worry about that for the moment.
But that was 500.
Yeah, well, I've changed to 0 now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, right.
But still,
right.
it's laggy, right? Let's carry on. So we're taking the max X and Y index. This gives us our limits. We're taking the grid dimension, which is how big each. This is actually cell size.
Yeah.
So we're dividing our X by the cell size, flooring it, max it to there. This is giving us our column and our row. Yep. And then trailing column, trailing row is our max row and column. So we're adding the X plus the viewport. Well, there's one problem.
It's like double.
Parentheses are missing there.
Yeah.
Right? Because you want to take the
Yeah.
X. So that would put in the trailing and columns way out.
Yeah.
Now we're giving you like columns of 2000. That was your problem.
Yeah.
So let's print these out and see what we get. Let's just see, make sure we're right. So trailing column. This is trailing column. Oops.
Sometimes autocomplete works.
Yeah. Right. So if I print those out, that should tell us what's going wrong. Oh no. Oh, it's because it's doing max. Okay, hang on. Let me scroll it. Hang on. There you go. Hang on. That trailing should not get any bigger. Oh, sorry. I know it's a lot behind you guys. So let me. Can I move at the bottom? Hang on. Let me do this.
That's right.
So as I'm scrolling, the trailing and trailing row. I'm not sure they should be getting that. Well, it's trailing. I don't know. Let's put the bounds in here. Let's put what's the leading. So basically, we're going from leading column to trailing to and leading row. Well, I don't know, maybe. Yeah. Not convinced yet. Let's just restart. Okay, so 0, 0, null. Whatever. Inspector. Inspector can go away. Right.
Yeah.
So 3353, right? So I'm just going to try and scroll a bit. Yeah. Those numbers, you see how they've grown tremendously. This is because so they should have just added 4 to the left. So you should have been to 55 and 90, right? Now you've got to wrong numbers. That's because you're missing. So what you're doing here is the order of precedence is wrong. This is dividing viewport width and adding pixels. So the further you get into your display, the larger your number of columns are getting and your rows. So you're just missing parentheses, if I could say it. There you go. So this means you're going to add these two numbers and then divide them. And that's essentially what your problem was there. So now if we restart, we'll see there's some numbers, same numbers. Ooh. And now when I scroll, there you go. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Really nice.
Beautiful.
The leg is gone.
Ship it.
It is still.
It's not gone, but it's
I'm going to say
it's not nearly as bad as it was.
But nowhere near as what it was. Right? Because the more you scrolled, the more you were making.
Too.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, in debug mode. Yeah.
In a release.
All right. Well, on that fix, I'm going to have to head out.
All right. Thanks, John.
All right. See you guys.
See,
Thanks for taking over Scott's slot and my slot since neither of us were here.
So, are you going to stick around for a little bit, Randall?
Yeah, I'm good now. I mean, as long as I don't slur too much because I haven't had a lot of sleep, I'm sure I'll be able to be up and vertical for at least the rest of the show.
Cool.
I may go back to bed.
Let's do some coding then, and I think because
people let's do it.
Coding. So this is in debug mode, yes. So let's see what else we've got here. Why this is also a bit laggy. So yeah, there's ways of achieving these numbers. So a lot of these numbers that you're calculating here are going. Yeah, you kind of want to work out. There's some simple ways of doing this calculation. You don't have to keep doing multiplies and divides on everything. But it's not. That's not
you should hoist any calculation on any values that aren't changing
out of the tight loop. Yeah, I mean you're essentially creating. Well, let's have a look. Let's do this. Let's do another thing. Let's after the layout's complete. Let's add this, and then put count items. Let's count whatever you call them. Count items. So we'll set up a count here at the beginning, right?
Okay.
Set it to 0. And then each time we lay out and build a widget, we're going to increment our nothing. So let's see. So we're building 17,000 widgets. Why are we? And then that's not just widgets. That's a widget tree.
Oh yeah.
Why are we building this many? Surely that's not how many have the screen here. It feels like there's less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Just a historical note. I noticed you
wrote by this.
Variable. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go on. Go on.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, when you wrote variable plus plus, I was remembering back to the days when you would be, just for efficiency, you'd do plus plus variable because then it wouldn't have to retain the old value even temporarily, and the compilers weren't smart enough to not do that.
They're smart enough now.
So now it doesn't matter. Now you can kind of write whatever you want, and the compiler goes, "Oh, he." I mean,
it does actually imply difference. If you put this into, so for those that don't know, if I did this right, this I print A. Just for those that don't know,
that would be the old A. Yeah,
A would be the original value of count values before it's incremented, and if you put plus plus at the beginning, it's post incremented. So it'll be on the first time around the loop, this would be A would be the value of 1 and not 0. Whereas if it was plus on the other side, it would be 0. Right?
The plus plus on the left side is pre-increment because the increment happens before you access the variable. Before
the result is given. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. So let's have a look here. Apply content dimension. Was that in a follow? Right. Why is this async? Why is this async? What? No.
You can't have async on a layout. That's got to be done in real time.
It's still. I don't. Oh, you're trying to do a game of life. You can find the repro on top of gist. What?
Game of life. That might be closer.
But you don't need that. This is the wrong way of doing this. Right. I think. Okay.
You just want something that paints a single data structure, not having thousands of widgets. I guess. Well, how do you do touch points then? How do you get mouse pointers if you don't have?
You can do that with one. I mean, this is the thing. Like there's a point here which is optimization, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about this briefly. You've got this many widgets, and they've all got trees. They've all got to handle everything, right? But if you know that the structure is particularly laid out like in a grid like this, well then you can actually say, okay, put one, gestures, etc. around the entire thing and go, oh, wherever you tapped, divide it by the dimension in this case. What was it, cell size or whatever it was? and then that would tell you the column and the row that they tapped on. It's that simple. There was no need to have 1,700 gesture detectors. You can just have the one and do the calculation because you know up front it's a grid, right? So I will say that, you know, there's a certain part of this which, so you said you've got maybe, so he sent this. This is where it's come from, the game of life. So he's got a game of life he's trying to do with this. Yeah, so you're just trying to use. That's what I did. Just wondering about 2D grid views. You're wondering how you could use 2D grid view. I mean, strictly speaking, this is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just kind of curious, like, it still shouldn't be that bad. I'm just trying to like see what's going on here.
When you talked about taking the XY coordinate and figuring out where it was on the actual drawing, reminded me of the old what do they call those on the web in the 70s or in the 90s? Image maps, yeah. Where you would have like one image, and then anywhere you clicked on it, it would send XY to a URL of your choice as a question mark parameter. And so you could use that to create sensitive images that would be essentially arbitrary menu bars or whatever you wanted back in the old day. I remember back when the web was young.
Right.
Me and Tim Berners-Lee went out to lunch.
I'm just taking a look through. I actually haven't used the two-dimensional viewport stuff yet, so this is kind of interesting for me as well. So build or obtain child vicinity. So this child vicinity is the X and the Y, so the column and row or the position of that child in relation to the two-dimensional plane.
Yeah.
So this would be your X and Y, which is your row and column. The problem you've got here is I'm honestly not seeing why this would be as expensive as it is.
Well, if you're also doing life calculations on it, you aren't yet. You're not doing generations yet.
No, I mean, like children vicinity, there's a direct lookup here. Does it contain the key vicinity? Vicinity itself is a direct key. So the next frame, it should be reusing all the widgets, right?
Yeah.
So all you're doing is choosing layout. Strictly speaking, you don't actually have to relay out any of the widgets. That's another thing to mention. You only have to lay them out once. Like, unless there's size changes, you don't have to relay them out. So maybe
is that just the scroll view? Is the scroll view handling stuff that's going off screen and then coming back on screen then?
I think we're going to get a set that hasn't laid it out at least once. Yeah, child has size. This is me just turning it off completely just to kind of play around with this. So what we could do, we could look and see what we can do about optimizing out the need for also constraints here. What are these constraints? These are wrong. Yeah, those constraints are completely wrong. So you've got fixed dimension. Yeah. So you actually want cell constraints, right? Type 4. If you don't do this, then they're going to try and calculate as big as they need to be, which is also a slower calculation process, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could get layout time here, but it's definitely not as nice as it could be. let's see, layout position, parent data of. Sure. I mean, I've done things like this and never had lag like this. So I'm kind of curious what app print might actually be associated with lag right now. But also, where is this vertical offset? Hang on. Viewport offset. Yeah, so you got the two viewport offset, apply content dimensions. Vertical max row times 1. What? What am I missing here? Clamp to infinity. Wait, what? That's
Yeah, why is it times 1? What the hell is the times 1 doing in there?
I know it doesn't do anything.
Both of those are times 1. There's extra times 1s.
So again, this is taking the dimension, right? So 20 times the maximum number of columns, giving you the size, right? The what you actually want to do here is do a seal on this to get the upper bound. You want +1 is what you actually want, right? If you're trying to get to the right-hand side, which is the content dimension.
Right.
So I think you mistakenly didn't do that, right? And then, yeah, and then again, yeah, you want the +1. I think that's the problem here. You're trying to get the right-hand side of the last cell.
Yeah, it's one more offset.
Minus the
That's what's
viewport
problem.
height. Yep. Yep. Again, though, I'm not sure the clamping. I mean, sure, if your rows are less than this, I guess you're trying to clamp to the minimum of 0. There's actually a min-max, but equally, I do wonder if setting this each time is also causing you a problem, because if the max row and max column don't change, then yeah, if these values don't change in the delegate, so do you actually have sorry, bear with me, delegate as this delegate? So let me first of all show you this. This is a little tip for you. So delegate is a so you can override it, right? So where is it? Yeah. So oh no, not the setter, I'm the getter.
Oh.
You all right?
Mm-mm.
Let's do the setter twice.
There's a lot of pollen, and I'm triggered by pollen, so I'm having
There we go.
a tough time.
So you can update the and then probably get rid of that. Yep. Super.delegate. Oh. This is not. I've done that before. Why? It's just the way this has been made. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Am I going to tell someone off? Do you not have? That's interesting. Yeah. So this should actually probably be expressed as a oh my god. Oh, it's called now. I'm getting hungry. What is it called again? Oh my god. Generic. All right. Oh my god. Right. Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Right. Let's move on from that. Right. That would have fixed that one, but we're here now. I think the problem I've got with this is there's a possibility that you're doing a lot more that's not needed. I'm really curious. So you got. Should we have a look and see what they say about how you meant to implement this? Because so far I see what's going on here. So you've got two-dimensional scroll view, which scroll details, control off physics direction. Okay. This has a delegate, and the delegate needs to implement. So you've already got a builder. You've already got like, I don't. Why not use the builder? Am I missing something? Two-dimensional child delegate. You give it a builder. You give it your max XY. And then your builder function is going to get called with the facility, right? And that's it. Right? Like, am I?
It seems like you want that.
Right. So I'm not sure why. Let's have a quick look here. So hang on. Right. So you pass in the delegate. Let's go back to where we were. Sorry, everyone. Right. So here's back to the example. Let's get rid of this duplicate. This was again, this was what the original submitter was doing. Right. So we pass over the grid dimension, which is how big to do things. Dimensional grid viewport. I mean, I see this for the layout, but then I'm like, well, what does the builder do? How's the builder doing its layout? Delegate that supplies children to a two-dimensional scroll view using builder callback. So where does rendering take place? So this is going to give you, this is you're providing what from this a widget. Yeah, based on the vicinity, you're providing a widget. So does this automatically put them in rows and columns for you? And they're going to have fixed size. I mean, it's possible. Should we try it? I don't know. Let's try it. Go down to our little thing down the bottom here and say we want a two-dimensional scroll view, right?
Now I'm going to have to play with this later today. This looks like fun.
Yeah, I haven't had to play with this myself yet. So then what was it, delegate?
I've only seen the Connect videos. Or whatever.
Oh, no, it is a two-dimensional. Wait a minute, there is a two-dimensional builder being given. Okay, ignore me. Oh, so we're doing that to override the rendering. I'm with you now. Sorry. Yeah, which is what I was curious about. So the grid dimension, though. When does it know to build the viewports? It's just doing the normal builds, doing scrollable. So every build goes through that. Okay. So that's fine. And we got a two-dimensional grid viewport. That's getting me. Anyway. Tree view is not what this is, right? This is render grid view. Right. Two-dimension child manager. Start layout, build child, reuse child, end layout. Okay, so context as this. Okay, so we have a child manager, and then the viewport can use a child manager to do the reification. Yeah. Okay, and that's where that's coming from. Okay, sure. And then it's suggesting that you just have to override, must implement that child calling this to obtain a child children for the viewport. I mean, to me, there's nothing in here that's unexpected right now. I think it'd be nice to know that we're not doing things unnecessarily. Sure. I think just those brackets were enough to throw this off because it was creating many more widgets than it needs to. But it's still a lot of widgets to create, right? So
and it still looks like there's a lot of just gut level. Looks like there's a lot of calculations that can be hoisted up outside some loops.
yeah, I'm more concerned with the fact that the applied dimensions might have a tail effect. To I can't really trace this down, which is what's really annoying me. If
Like
these,
it might be triggering a layout because something's changing size.
yeah, so I'm not sure if these work. Yeah, near equal. So if they're not near equal, then it's going to set them specify that it's got pending layout dimensions. I don't know. This isn't too bad. It'd be nice to know. I would put these values up here. And then also do math dot max 0. Whatever this is. Oops. Math. Get rid of the clamp.
Sounds like something a doctor would say to a nurse during a surgery. Clamp.
Clamp, please.
Suture scissors.
That's what I'm doing. It's surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just have a quick look and see what we get in terms of
Do you concur? I concur. Do you concur? That was a fun movie, even though it was mostly wrong.
well, that doesn't seem right.
What happened?
Oh, wait. Yeah, that's not the visible. This is the extent. Sorry. That took me a second. Yeah, content. This is, content dimensions, not the viewport extension. Yeah, okay. And this is with the cache extent as well. So if we put like 500 cache extent, what we actually see? Numbers wise, about the same, probably. Let's have a look. Yeah. That's really interesting. So look at what's performance telling us now. Yeah. Oh, look, there you go. Look, current. So 54, 118. That's not a lot, to be honest. 33 in one frame. Like, depending on what we're doing. I mean, that's not an unreasonable amount now compared to the, or was it 17,000 from before?
Yeah.
We're still not hitting the frame count that we would want. Yeah, I think running this in we're also running this in dev mode. Should we run it in release?
Sure. Sure, why not? It's not like it's gonna cost extra.
Let's see what we get.
Sorry, you need Flutter Plus Pro to be able to run it in release mode.
All right. So, what was the next thing we were gonna have on the list?
I don't know. Wasn't here.
2-dimensional did that. I think I've got some start things here. Right.
They do have started things.
Did that. How can I create a custom scroll that loads more data when I scroll down, but instead of adding a small widget like list tiles, I want to add a completely new screen? Train of thought. Are you still here, train of thought? Would you like to see that? Speak up now, or it may not happen.
So this is an infinite page view?
So yeah, essentially an infinite page view. I think there's a side of this which is also like I think TikTok style, like you've got that kind of content that you just keep scrolling through.
I'm sorry, you're talking to the wrong person if you start talking about TikTok.
I don't have TikTok. YouTube Shorts then. I mean, just like you've got a screen and then you can keep kind of scrolling to next content.
Oh yeah, and it's sort of sticky at the boundaries so that you can kind of scroll up just exactly a screen.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Yeah,
Yep.
I was wondering how page view does that, right? Because you just basically swipe and then wherever you let it go, it stops on the next page.
Well, you can do some things with that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. This is interesting. I managed to break things apparently. Null check. Correct for new dimensions. Can we?
What's broken there? Wow. It's only broken in. The asserts went away, and so it's probably getting bad data that was trapped earlier. No, wait, that wouldn't make sense.
No, it does. Like we were getting this more. I mean, you're not supposed to adjust these whilst you're doing layout. I'm not actually sure what is recommended from a two-dimensional viewpoint. I think there's some two.
Oh, did you ever do a full restart when you made your changes? So maybe there was some leftover stuff that just happened to work.
Mean,
and now you're starting from cold, so maybe it's different.
Maybe I want to try something.
Yeah. That'd be my next thought, but yeah, it's the way I think. I try to recreate all the things I did differently when it works one time and doesn't work the next, and I think about all the exact steps I took on each one of those. Try to diff them.
I'm going to see if I can find
part of what decades of coding has taught me.
I didn't think I could do that. Let's try running it without release mode for a second and see what we get. What I'm just looking at here is I've got the source code open of the two-dimensional scrollable package, which has some examples of essentially of how you might do this, right? So we've got a table in this case, but obviously this is a bit more so that still works. Let's have a look to see how this is actually dealing with it, right? So here's our delegate. Sorry if that's not big enough for anyone. It's coming in that bigger. Okay, so the delegate, when it starts up, specifies the builder as being cell builder function. Whoops. And extend. Okay, so you can extend child vicinity with your own type. So that's you can improve for more information. That's nice to know. Add repaint boundaries false. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay. So let's go up here. Where are we getting those? Those are going into. Hang on, this is the delegate, right? Yeah. Hang on. No, let's move past this. Where am I? Oh, we don't make the supply. Sorry. Hang on. Just want to see if without the repaint boundaries, how this. That's a lot of caching. Suddenly, you're doing the repaint boundaries, and it doesn't feel much better, to be honest. Let's carry on. Where was I? Column count, pin columns, rows. Two-dimensional child list delegate, cell list delegate. And what was this one? There's a builder there. Is this different? Didn't child build it. So this is an expansion of the delegate to provide a mix-in and provide some extra getters and so on to help build things, build column. Okay, 2 dimensions. We got a couple of, they got the builder and list variations of the delegate and the mix-in. What's going on here? Why is that highlighting wrong? It's interesting. The browser. Okay, so apparently wrapping doesn't work correctly in GitHub with selection. Anyway, so this delegate must be coming from here, I guess. Or is this the same one? No, there it is. In case we have getters for row count, pinned, build column, build row. Okay, hang on.
Build row.
Okay. So these are supplied in to the delegate. Okay.
Right.
So I'm still not seeing here like any table vicinity, row column. Same difference. Parent data. Sure. Cell. Sure. I mean, this has got merging stuff. This is essentially the same thing. Table span. So the question here is, does this should have all the rendering in this file? I think. Let's have a look. Sorry, I'm gonna zoom past a few things here. I'm trying to speed this up. So we've got list, viewport builder, table viewport, very similar to what the code we've just been looking at. This creates a table, render table viewport, and does an update, which we don't do right now, but we're not changing the values when we build it, so that's fine. Should do that. Table viewport. So this is the bit where all the logic happens. Yeah, see, this is what I was saying. That override the getter for the delegate. Why was it?
Yeah.
Why was it not working for me? Am I imagining things?
I don't know. It looked like you were on the right track.
I'm gonna put that back in there. I want to know. Okay, maybe now it works. I must have done something different. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, so you should be able to then do delegate. Yep, and get the fields that you want.
Yay.
Cool.
Less red. Less red is always good.
Let's go back to where we're looking at here. So set, merge vicinities, merge row, merge columns, matrices, lots of cached values. First on pinned. Again, there's just about bringing up new values when things change. Parent data of, again, another nice way of like just quickly doing that. If you want custom pet, hit test children again. Update column matrices. Column matrices. Interesting. I don't know what these are. I'm going to skip past all this merging logic, row matrices. We're going to skip all this. Like, we don't care about this. Update scroll bounds. Update scroll bounds. Right. Update first and visible last cells. Update horizontal scroll bounds. Update vertical scroll bounds. So this is going to get when the values have changed, then it's going to apply the new content dimensions, the bit that we were just looking at the bottom. So accepted dimension, then update first and last visible cells. So it's doing some calculations. It updates, and then it's telling us if it changed it. And if it did, then it's doing the recalculations of which things should be visible. Okay, not too bad. All right, here we go. So layout child sequence, the same sort of function. Oh, look, needs delegate rebuild, did resize. Recomputes the table matrix and validates the caching information. So we actually get some flags to tell us if it was resized and if we need to recalculate or rebuild widgets, I guess, right? So they're going to rejig things, update scroll bounds, right? Otherwise, updates the last invisible cells based on the cached. Works out the current offset. And layout cells is going to do the hard work by the looks of it. Many different ways of doing that, or I'll start and end, so array of cells. Skip past all this layout cells, table of efficiency, start, end. And there you go. So now you're going through the start row to end row plus 1. We're going to go for each row. And column. And with the spanning and everything else, actually calculate. See, look, this is interesting. See, look, this is actually, I wonder if this is build or obtain child for facility.
I saw that in the other code too.
Yeah, but like, so they're actually using a cache here. So like, they're already saying, oh, do we already contain like these merge facilities? Do we already contain a key for this facility? Otherwise, get one. This already had a cache in it, so I think they're just doing this because merging is not a thing that the underlying structure works. So they've got a separate cache for the merged cells. So that's true, right? Then we go cell parent data of, and effectively all this should be doing is setting the parent data based on whatever parameters. Update row metrics. So far, I haven't seen one layout of a chart. Here we go. Cell constraints type 4, cell layout, set the offset, and move on. So they do cache. They do have this like metrics where they're caching a bunch of stuff. Paint as well. Paint cells. Is this only choosing to paint the things that are visible? No. Push click rec needs compositing. Or maybe this is because they've got some like fixed cells, pinned cells. Child 4. Obviously, it's a little more complicated because this has got like lots of stuff going on there. Lots of extra features, should we say? Not convinced right now that anything that we've got going on here is bad per se. I'm just very confused why it's not. Nothing I've seen right now would tell us that we're doing something. And I don't think there's any heavy computation. I mean, you can see how much is going on here. Like there's hardly anything on. I think it's just literally the amount of widgets and everything else that we're trying to process. The way you would actually do this traditionally is work out, do less, right? The answer is you need to do less in the time that you have.
Right.
I mean, you've got to remember, you're telling it to build and render 1,700 widgets, potentially in one frame. So normally what you would do in this situation, which I'm pretty sure is being worked on by the underlying system, and I think that's feels like there's something going wrong here. Because normally what you would do in this situation is that those widgets on the screen, when you scroll, they're just being moved, right? They're just being rendered in a new position. They don't have to be relayed out at all. This shouldn't be what was that? It was did resize or did resize. What was the other? There was another.
Yeah, I don't remember.
There's another flag, wasn't there? I could search for did resize in the other one. Let's do that. Yeah, needs delegate rebuild. I'm pretty sure I don't know, actually. This is something.
You're thinking one of those is getting set too often.
This value is set to false after layout child sequence. If mark needs layout is called with relay down true, this information update. See, normally what you do is you don't have to call layout again. Once a widget's laid out, it's done. We seem to be calling this on like every frame. We should be getting this called only with the information about the new widgets, the new vicinities that need to be updated. The whole idea of the builder is that we're calling it for. I see. I've done a couple of these type of things before, and I think this is just the way this has been set out. Build or obtain child for. Does it already contain this vicinity in the cache? And then the child manager build or reuse. Like this should be. It should just be returning the existing one, right? I think the problem here is it's like, well, even if you turn back the existing one, if it doesn't need layout, I mean, I guess what we could do here, see layout. I'm kind of curious. Let's try this. Yeah, this just something's not something. In fact, there is a way we can optimize this. Yeah, okay. Hang on. Let me just do this first of all. Did resize or what was it? Up delegate. I think where is it? Need delegate rebuild. I want to see if we get an error from this. That's all.
And it's not the heavy computation. It's just that there's so darn much of it, and a lot of it's probably doing identical things on each frame.
No, see, it's something else is going on here. Oh,
got
okay.
it.
Hang on. I know exactly. I think I know exactly what's going on here, and we're all idiots. How's that?
Oh, speak for yourself. No, yeah, no, probably we are.
That's so.
We're all bozos with us.
I'm pretty sure I know what's going on here. Hang on. Let's see if it's what I think it is. What does? Let me just do this. And when you see, you'll be like, "Really?" And I'll be like, "Yes."
Missing a prime. Oh no, you got it. Still laggy.
It feels better, but it could just be me. It's hard to tell, to be honest, and I don't particularly. I'll use the DevTools panel. Huh? Yeah, but look at this. I don't want to use this. Memory. Oh. Frame analysis. Select the frame. No. No.
Hey, John, you're not allowed to leave the show and come back and harass us. It's not cool.
It's not cool, dude.
See if you get invited back, like every week.
What happened here?
Your expertise is appreciated, but your snarkiness is not.
Okay, well, I think I managed to
make it worse. Oh, okay. Make it better. Still hanging on.
The rest is really changed. Why I know that? It's not giving me any information, which is really annoying.
324.2 is out. Flutter new release.
Okay, so this is how you. So I'm trying to find it. Select the frame. Let's do restart then. I know my ID is set to large font, and it obviously makes it really difficult to use the tooling. So
That's large. It's pretty small to me, but that's fine.
So even with 53 widgets being built, I can't see. This is just super annoying. Can I pop out the dev tool somewhere? I can't see anything. Well, I can see how many it's done in the selected frame. It'd be really nice to be able to see the information here, which is what I can't see, which is telling me how long. 139 milliseconds during layout. And there's your problem there. And then 59 milliseconds to paint. Well, that's more. Those totaling together, funny enough, there's 7.7 milliseconds to build. It's because we're laying out all these widgets and we don't need to lay them out. And then we're repainting all the widgets when we don't need to paint. Well, they shouldn't need to be painted again. All right, look. So let's undo this. And yeah. Can I clear this? Let's get rid of that. All right, so a couple of things here. Why are we laying out when we don't need to lay out is the question. This should be unique for the hash code. Identity hash code. Tweaks. Local key with a vicinity type. Why can't we do that? Was it local key? Value key. Sorry, value key. Yeah, thanks. I'm still not convinced we're getting anywhere close to what we should be doing here. Like, it should not be. I mean, I can do this. Like, I feel like we're doing something wrong, like, well, we are. See, the content dimensions don't change unless the max column sizes have changed. So what we could be doing here, we can optimize that out, right? So what you're not seeing here is that the render two-dimensional viewport is actually a render object is actually stateful, which is why this doesn't really work, because you need to update the grid dimension in here in the update. That's the thing that's missing here. But let's not worry about it for the second. What we want to do is have a variable that says, well, actually, we know that those max indexes come from the delegate, right? Where was it? Yeah, we said that. Yeah, max y, min y come from the delegate, which means we know if the delegate changed because we have the function for it. So if the delegate needs delegate rebuild, then we know that that's changed. So that's one thing that we can optimize out. I don't think that's making any much of a difference, but
Is Santiago onto anything here? You said value.
Yeah, well, you might have missed that. I switched over to using a value key.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, I missed that. Sorry.
Well, it's not doing that anymore, but it's still not performing great. It's mainly because we're just laying out each of these widgets, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, I think that this will require, he says, it's really annoying me, to be honest, because it should be reusing the render objects and everything. Maybe we can take this another time, because this is lagging on a bit now, way on than I want to.
Have that happen, you have to have the row object also have a key that it could see that was the same row object, right?
Well, even if you did it cell bound, which it is right now, the point here is layout doesn't actually change, right? So when you lay out, this is the thing that I'm trying to get my head around with this whole two-dimensional scroll thing. Like, you don't actually need to lay out. Those widgets are still relative to the 0 point of the content panel, right?
Okay.
You've got your viewport, you've got content panel inside your viewport. Relative to the 0 coordinate, they're all in the same position. They don't change. When you change your scroll position, you can just paint them at a new position. And then you're choosing to show which widget should be removed or added to the screen based on layout.
Yeah.
This means that for the majority of the time, when you need to add or remove widgets, you're not actually relaying them out on the screen. You shouldn't need to. So this layout offset, actually, it says layout offset. What it means here is actually the render position. This is just the standard position that is rendered at. If we were to override the paint function in here, you'll see it does that already. So let's go into paint. Paint, isn't it? Like, I feel stupid right now. Around my paint, yeah, there it is. So if children's empty, doesn't do anything. Push a clip, paint children, paint children. It goes to each of the children in the viewport that have been added, and then chooses to paint them at the offset, which is correct. This is interesting. Is visible if this paint extent. Interesting. So they got a little optimization in there, I guess. Whether or not a child is actually visible in the viewport. So that must be being this paint extent must be being updated. Update child paint. This is set in update child paint data. And where is that being called? Called after layout child sequence to compute the paint offset and paint extent. Complete child parent data. So if it contains the key, it will. Okay, fair enough. And then reify children and updates them. I mean, like there's already a ton of optimizations in here.
It's not the right one.
Yeah. Start layout. So start layout chart. So that runs our function.
Would a repaint boundary help? Santiago. No. Because it shouldn't even get.
I mean, the whole app is just this, right? So you can put a repaint behind each item. The idea of doing that is that if it repaints, it doesn't need to repaint the parent. If you had a quite complex subtree, it would make a difference. This shouldn't make any difference whatsoever in our situation, other than each child widget is being cached now, has its own paint cached, its own display list. Yeah, not. Let's just put this up to 100 here. Smooth as anything, right? This is obviously 77 now. But we're still doing, 200. Okay, so 286 here. Obviously, you get more resources, as the person was saying. You get more resources on a mobile, and building is not the be or end all. But there's, again, once you run this in release mode, you probably will find that it's not that much. I think what I just said, what we've just done already, which is simply, okay, let's only set the content dimensions when the delegate changes, because that's only when the values change. That's not helpful at all. And then what was it? The brackets were missing when doing the division up here, which was meant that you were getting a runoff number, which was causing problems. And then adding the type for constraints. So was it MD that posted this?
I don't remember.
I think
so.
It was.
Yep.
Is Train of Thought still here? Train of Thought, speak up. You had to leave what we're building. We're just answering one of the questions with stuff. Marco, hey Marco, nice to meet you again. What are you working on? This is just one of the questions that came in. It's about 2D scrolling grid view. Okay, so what we'll do, MD, is we'll take this code and I'll post it back to you just if I can find it in a minute. Well, I kind of do want to try out a little bit more code if you want to, if you want, Randall. Otherwise,
It's coming up on the top of the hour, so it's been 3 hours for people.
Yeah, I think we'll end it here then.
Yeah.
Why don't we'll try again for a live coding thing. So the thing that came up in the let me just copy these things that came up because I think we should give them a go. So
Sure.
one was by Ree, who said, can you show me how to make a server with an endpoint to download a file with the ability to pause and resume the download for best practices, good articles, special headers, and such like? It's kind of an interesting one.
Yeah.
And then Train of Thought was asking about how to create a custom scroll that loads more data.
Yeah.
That is something we could also tackle. But I think we'll park it here since we've been going plenty long enough for the show.
3 hour tour, 3 hour tour.
Hope everyone had a great time. And yeah,
I had
you had a great time. You weren't here. Right. Same time, same place next week, and we'll publish some. I'll push this code back up to the gist and make sure it goes out if anyone's interested. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now. Bye.